Okay, so in the Ayurveda and asana practice the other day, we were talking about ways to work with muscular strength and endurance and also working with bone strength. So I'm going to work a little bit with that theme today in our yoga with light weights practice. And so we're going to be working on repetitions of movements for 6 times. And then we'll also be working on maintaining those 30-second holds in some of our longer held positions. So if you think you're going to use the blocks, you can move those to the front short side, and then you can actually have your weights near the front, but just set out to the sides, and then a blanket for the knees. So big toes coming close together, knees going apart, and we're going to walk the hands forward, and we're going to begin today's practice in the child's position. So just let your forehead either come directly to the mat, or you can stack your palms and rest your forehead down onto your stacked palms. Allowing the pelvis to sink toward the heels. Releasing the belly into the space between the inner legs. The forehead grounded down into the stacked palms or the floor. And then deepening the feeling of the breath as it brushes across the back of your throat. Taking one more deep inhale here. And one more deep exhale. And then we're going to shift the hips up into tabletop position. So allowing the hips to rise up, moving the hands apart so that they're a little wider than your shoulders, knees coming beneath your frontal hip points. We'll start with just a few cycles of cat-cow. So as you breathe in, begin to let your belly button reach down toward your mat as you lift up through your center chest bone and a very slight lift of your chin. As you're breathing out, press into your hands and feel your tailbone start to draw under so that you round through the spine. It feels like the center of your shoulder blades is lifting up toward the sky. We'll do that 2 more times. So breathing in, start to let the belly button sink down toward the mat. Feeling a little bit of softness in the elbows as your heart pulls through, slight lift of the chin, and exhale, anchoring the hands to take the tailbone under. Feel the spine round as the center of your shoulder blades lifts up toward the sky. And then one more time, breathe in, let your belly button start to release again down toward the floor. Lifting up through the center of the heart, and exhale, pressing into your hands. Take your tailbone under and round through the spine. And as you breathe in, we're going to come to neutral. We're going to shift the weight into the left knee, and you might even take the left knee an inch more toward the center. And you're going to extend your right knee and press the right ball of the foot into the mat. So it becomes like a kickstand. And then you're going to ground into your right hand. We're going to catch hold of the weight with the left hand. Now you're going to draw the belly button in and keep reaching out long through the crown of the head. And we're going to breathe in. We're going to let the left elbow bend and feel the elbow draw up toward the sky. So the weight comes toward the left side of the chest, and you're just going to release the hand down. We're going to do that a few times. So rise up, let the elbow bend, and then release. Let the elbow bend, and then extend, and then 3 more times. Elbow bends, lift the elbow up, release the hand toward the floor. 2 more, take the elbow point up and release the arm down. 1 more time, take the elbow point up toward the sky and then release the hand all the way down. Let the weight come out to the side, ground into both hands. Draw the belly button again in toward the spine and float the right leg up so that it's running about parallel to the floor. So really feel yourself stretch out through the back of your right knee, reach long through the crown of your head, and then you're going to shift your weight into your right hand and let your left arm maybe extend along the side of the face. So if there's any discomfort in the right shoulder, or you just feel a little off balance, you can always bring your left hand back down to the floor to support the balance. So taking an inhale and an exhale here. I'm going to hold again, another breath, breathe in. Deep breath out. And we're going to take one more inhale and exhale just to work with that 30-second hold. So deep breath in. Deep, full breath out. Then you're going to allow your left hand to come down to the mat and let your right knee also come down to the mat. So take your knees a little bit apart, and then you just want to take your hips and give a gentle sway. Let your elbows be soft as you do that. You can let your head kind of sway from side to side. And then I just want to take a moment to give the wrist a break. So I'm going to have you come up to standing on your knees, and you're going to want to bring the weights with you as you rise up. So your shoulders stack over your hips, hip points stack over your knees. You're going to allow your elbows to be somewhat soft. The palms are facing down toward the mat, and you're going to let your arms extend out in front of you so that the arms are running about parallel to the floor. Now we're going to do some crossing here. So you're going to cross your right arm on top and your left arm on bottom. And you'll pulse open, and then right arm on bottom, left arm on top, and then you'll just start to pulse back and forth. So I do like to keep my elbows a little bit soft here. I find that that makes the movement a little gentler in terms of the shoulder joints. Take the gaze straight forward. Let your eyes be focused, but also like a softness to them, a sense of relaxation. We'll just do just a few more times. Sometimes I like to take the candle flame breath when it starts to feel a little bit challenging. So that's an inhale through the nose. And then our last exhale, pretend to blow out a candle. Okay, let the arms come down. You're going to let the weights come down to the floor, and we're going to bring the hands back down, about as wide as the mat. We'll give the knees a break now by taking a downward dog. So float up your knees, and then as you arrive in the downward facing dog, just take some gentle pedaling with your feet and with your knees, just to give some stretch and opening to the backs of the legs before we take that second side. Letting go breaths, I always find, can be helpful. Just maybe breathing in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth with that soft sighing sound. Okay, one last inhale and one last exhale. Okay, and then we're going to take the knees back down to the tabletop position. And then we're going to start to shift more weight into the right knee and extend out through the left knee with the left ball of the foot anchored into the floor like a kickstand. Reach out through the crown of the head, let your weight shift into your left hand, and you're going to catch hold of the weight in your right hand. We're going to do that elbow pulse 6 times. You're going to let your right elbow bend, feel the elbow point draw up toward the sky, and then you're going to release your arm toward the floor. Draw the right elbow point up toward the sky, and then release the hand toward the floor. Bend the elbow, draw it upward, keep reaching through the crown of the head. Release 3 more times, elbow point draws up. And release 2 more times, elbow point draws up. And release, very last one, elbow point is going to draw up. And then you're going to release and set the weight out to the side, ground into both hands, draw the belly button in to support the lift of the left leg up, so about parallel to the floor. Reach out long through the back of your left knee. Focus your eyes. And then you can stay here. You can start to shift more weight into your left hand and maybe bring your right arm by the right side of the face. Activating downward through your left palm as you spread through the fingers. Activate through your right palm and spread through the right fingers. Take an inhale and exhale. Another breath in and another breath out. Last one, inhale and exhale. Releasing your right hand, releasing your left knee. So just a little bit of softening in the elbows, and then you're just going to take your hips and take that sway of your hips from side to side. And we're going to come up one more time for standing on the knees. It's going to shift your hips back to the center, catch hold of your weights, and then come to stand, shoulders over the crest of your hips, frontal hip bones over your knees. Again, keep the elbows a little soft, bring your arms up to parallel the floor, and then we're going to cross again, second and final set of these crosses. So right arm on top and then left arm on top. Let your eyes focus straight ahead. Draw the chin slightly in, just slightly below parallel, so that the back of the neck and up through the back of your skull feels long. The crown of the head feels tethered upward toward the sky as the tailbone ever so slightly tips down. Let me just take this just a few more times. Remembering the candle flame breath, you can take your last inhale maybe through the nose, blow it out through the mouth. Okay, and then last cross, let your elbows bend, and then let your weights come down to the floor. Again, downward facing dog, hands about as wide as your mat, float your knees up. Send your hips nice and high, and then take a few moments just to walk out through your knees and your feet. Okay, and so we'll hold here. Take a breath in and a last breath out. Okay, and then breathe in, take your gaze upward toward your hands and begin to step your feet forward, coming into the forward fold. Inhale, slide your hands up onto your shins, reach out long through the crown of your head. And then as you exhale, fold back into your legs. We'll reverse the swan dive, so breathe in, let your knees begin to bend, sweep your arms out to the side, let your arms lengthen up by the sides of your face. Exhale, prayer hands come together, and the prayer hands slide down into your heart, crown of the head reaching up while the tailbone gently draws down. Inhale, circle sweep your arms, lengthen your arms back up by the sides of your face. Prayer hands coming together and through the heart as you bend your knees and fold your body forward over your legs. Take your breath in, slide your hands up onto your shins, reach out long through the crown of your head. And as you're exhaling, let your hands frame your right foot and step your left foot back into high lunge. So here's where you may want the blocks beneath the hands. We'll do just a few pulsing movements here. So as you inhale, your right knee will approximately be over the ankle. Let the sides of your body grow long, and you might have your gaze a few feet in front of the front short side. Now, as you exhale, let your hips lift up and back, rocking up onto the right heel, and at the very least, keeping a little soft bend in your right knee, but maybe a little deeper if the back of the leg is a little restricted. And let's go with that a few times. So bend your right knee, take your hips down, let the sides of the body lengthen from the pelvis, and exhale, move your hips up and back, rock onto your right heel. Inhale as you let your right foot land, let your hips go toward the floor, side body's long. Exhale, rock up onto your right heel. And then inhale, plant the right foot, take your hips down, side body is long. And exhale, rock up onto your right heel, reach out through the crown of your head. We're gonna do that 2 more times. So plant the right foot down, let the hips go toward the floor, side body's long. Exhale, rock up onto your right heel, sides of the body grow long. And then 1 more time, plant the right foot, high lunge, and then exhale, lift your hips up and back, rock onto the right heel. And then you're gonna let your body come back into high lunge. You're gonna spin your back left heel down in preparation for warrior two, but we are gonna catch hold of the weights before we come up. So holding the weights in the hands, draw the elbow points up, press into your feet and rise up. And so you're gonna let your chest turn a little more toward the long side of the mat. And we're gonna take traditional warrior two arms, but we're gonna hold with the weight in the hands. So you're gonna let your arms sweep out, stretching your arms so that they're about parallel to the floor. You might gaze beyond your right hand, or if it feels better on your neck, you could gaze out toward the left, past the left long side of your mat. I'm gonna take a deep inhale, deep exhale. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Very last one, deep breath in. And a deep exhale. You're gonna let your arms start to sweep down, softening your elbows as you go. Elbows bend, heads of the weights point up. We're gonna start to turn toward the right leg, start to spin off the back heel, take the weights out to the side, shift your blocks forward and step back to downward facing dog. As you land in the downward facing dog, take a deep breath in. As you're exhaling, let your knees come down to the mat, modified plank. So shift your hips forward. And we're just gonna take a gentle melting into the cobra. So let your thighs start to come down. Let your heart pull through, soften through your elbows, open just up through the front of your body. And as you exhale, we'll go back to downward dog. So either up and back with the hips or rock through tabletop first. Hold there in the down dog. Deep inhale. And deep exhale. Deep breath in. And last deep breath out. Okay, breathe in, let your gaze go upward toward your hands, and then you can step your feet forward. Coming back into the forward fold, inhale, slide your hands up on your shins, reach out through the crown of your head. And as you're exhaling, fold back into your legs. Breathing in, let your knees bend, take your arms, circle sweep them around and up, stretch your arms by the sides of your face. Prayer hands coming together through the heart, bend your knees and hinge your body forward over your legs, coming back into the forward fold. Inhale as you slide your hands up onto your shins, lengthen out through your spinal column halfway. And as you're exhaling, step your right foot back, slide the blocks beneath your hands for the high lunge pulses. So left knee is over the ankle, lift up through the heart. And then as you're exhaling, start to shift your hips back, rock to your left heel, maybe a little softness in the left knee or a deeper bend if the muscles behind the leg are a little more restricted. Inhale, high lunge, sides of the waist are long. Exhale, send your hips up and back, rocking onto your left heel. Inhale, planting the left foot down, left knee approximately over the ankle. Exhale, lift the hips up and back, rocking onto the left heel. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, move the hips up and back, reach out through the crown of the head. 2 final times. Inhale, plant the left foot down. Side waist long. Exhale, move the hips up and back. And then one last time. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, hips move up and back. Reach out through the spine and the crown of the head. Inhale, high lunge, and then spin the back right heel down. Reach out, catch hold of your weight. So you're gonna ground through the feet, take the tailbone slightly down so you're strong through the center of the body as you rise up, turning more to face the right long side of the mat. And we're gonna take the traditional warrior two arms. So you're gonna let your elbows just be a little bit soft, which I find when you're working with the weights makes it easier on the shoulder joints. Gaze out beyond your left hand, or if you find it better on your neck, as I seem to be today, you could just look toward the right side of your room. So take your chin slightly in, reach up through the crown of your head, and just take a deep breath in. Deep exhale. Deep inhalation. Deep exhalation. Last one, breathe in. And deep breath out. As your exhale is completing itself, just start to let your arms come down close into the sides of your body. Let your elbows bend, heads of the weights point up. We'll start to spin toward the front left thigh as we spin off of that back right heel. Set the weights out to the side, move the blocks forward, and step the left foot back into downward facing dog. So that same flow here, just take the knees down to the mat. Take the hips forward into modified plank, reaching out through the crown of the head, and then starting to soften through the elbows so that the chest can draw through as the thighs come toward the mat. Taking the cobra position, draw the tailbone down and feel your shoulder blades slightly draw toward one another. And then as you're exhaling, downward facing dog. Taking a deep inhale. Deep exhale. Deep breath in. And a deep breath out. So take your gaze upward toward your hands, step your feet forward. And then if you have the blanket that you are using for your knees and table, you might fold it up one or two times for Garland Pose. So you'll walk your heels so that they land on the blanket, have your feet kind of wide, your heels can turn in a little bit, toes can turn out a little bit, and you're gonna take your hips down into the Garland squat, and you're gonna let your hands come up to your heart in prayer. Let's just hold for a moment here. So if this shape doesn't work for your knees, the goddess squat facing the long side of your mat, sometimes called the horse squat, that's a really good alternative for this pose. Chin slightly in, gaze down at the floor, deep breath in. Another 1 to 2 cycles of breath. All right, so if your hips are close enough to the floor, you might not need your hands. If your hips are a little higher, you can actually bring your hands back behind you to support your hips coming to the mat. Move your feet forward, shift your hips back so that you can slide the blanket off to the right or to the left. And you can bring your hips more to the center of your mat and then bring your body slowly down to the floor. And as that's happening, you can pick up your feet, hug your thighs in toward your ribs. Looks like a recline garland position. So let your thighs start to draw apart, knees moving more toward your underarm area. And then you can stay there if you like. You can take the happy baby position. You can bring your ankles over your knees. Reach up, catch hold of your feet or your ankles, and reach your tailbone toward the front short side of the mat. Okay, and then on your next breath in, we're gonna let the hands release from the feet and reach the feet up toward the sky and the arms by the ears. So the feet could either be together, you could keep them about frontal hip bone distance apart, stretch your arms by your ears, sometimes called the Recline Down Dog. Take a breath in and a last breath out. And then let your knees bend, draw the thighs in toward the ribs, and then place your feet down to the mat. If you like a few cycles of windshield wipers, feel free to take those. And then when you feel ready, we'll take a short Shavasana by extending the legs out long on the mat, letting your toes fall open. Let the weight of your body sink down and let your eyes softly close. Taking your next inhale a little deeper. Full, complete exhale. Allowing your knees to bend one at a time so that your feet can come flat to the floor. Transitioning your body over to the right or to the left. As you arrive there, pressing your hands down and slowly coming to your seat. You can let your hands come together at your heart. The light within me sees and bows to that same light that exists within you. Namaste.